Hey, so wondering where I'm going? Well, I'm at the McGregor Boulevard, heading toward the bayou, and I got my orange juice with me. Wondering why I'm out here, and where all the people shouldn't be. Because I have something running in my mind that I need to get out right now. Something I only found out recently, but haven't come around to actually explaining until now, this very moment. Now, don't tell me you haven't looked up those videos on YouTube that's trending. Where's your fair use, right? Or is it, where's the fair use? Those kind of videos. I don't know if Doug Walker started this trend, but I know what he's talking about, because I know a lot of YouTubers who have went through it, and I once went through it on my old account. And I can understand where they are. I posted a recent video talking to YouTube about what changes there should be, and apparently they haven't listened yet. But they're not the problem. In fact, they're the least of our problems to deal with. Tell you this right now, they're only participants of computer social media communities catering to the MPAA. Now, I just mentioned that they're catering to the MPAA, but what kind of organization? Initially speaking, they are the Motion Picture Association of America. They're the main reason why we're still having trouble with our creativities today. Seems like there's still too much for certain people watching certain shows with certain content, and I'm not even going to mention those. But that's not my biggest rage. Oh no. It goes a lot further than that. My biggest rage is how film started. Oh yes, we are going back, way back. But I'm not gonna tell you my rage until you understand where I'm coming from. Yes, I've seen a lot of where's the fair use videos. Obviously, it's running rampant slowly but surely, but they've only posted those videos out because they found out they're having trouble with the system in accordance to YouTube itself. So they're trying to figure out this problem, and I'm actually supporting solving that problem. But here's where things get crazy. And this goes way, way back. Like, starting in the 1910s. Or 20s or further. But somewhere along those decades, where jazz was only famous in New York, and people moved to California to get as creative as they can from that kind of inspiration. Those days were new, and they were risky. But I found out recently that they weren't at all a good thing for people in California when it comes to filmmaking. Yes, I'm mentioning filmmaking. You want to know the weirdest part about that? Here's my biggest rage. Here it goes. My biggest rage is the fact that filmmakers from that period of time, yes, the age of jazz, or going further back than that, they were only making films, get this, for simple profit. Now just think about that for a minute. And I'm gonna let the time run so you can think about it. So what were you thinking about when I said that? Were you thinking I was crazy for mentioning this? What that had to do with YouTube running into system error of some kind? Well, you thought those things because that's the only truth I came to read online recently. I'm not kidding. I'm going to bring up that link in the description below because that's the only fact that I came to read on that one website. I'm going to mention that link below. You can look it up right now, see where I'm going with this. Now, obviously, there's a raise of questions along those lines. If those filmmakers back at the time, or further back, were only making films corporately and commercially just for profit, then what does that have to say about fair use? This is gonna shock you, seriously. There is no fair use where multi-billion-dollar film studios have been founded starting from that time or further back. Now, think about that. Think really hard about that. We have films being produced by Universal Studios and earlier studios than that, including Warner Brothers, who have been making up pretty good films, and they were entertaining, attractive, albeit, if not educational. But it seems now that I've read this recent fact that all those studios never cared about that. All they wanted was a little bit of profit and a little bit of retail demands. That's what was happening back then. Don't you feel ticked off? Don't you feel wasted for that kind of fact? The fact that a lot of multi-billion-dollar film studios are still making films to entertain us, but are only making it out just for profit. Now, of course, I have mentioned that there's no fair use where they are, how they existed, how they went about making films, but that's the only fact I came to read. So, someone please tell me if I'm wrong. I'm waiting for this one little miracle that will convince me any good reason at all to make more films, especially considering what I just read recently. So, considering the only fact that I read regarding filmmaking, the fact that a lot of multi-billion-dollar film studios are still coming to fruition just from simple benefit of profit really irks me inside. It also boggles the mind because we've been watching movies for like ever now, but look at Marvel with their stupid cinematic universe. Now, honestly, that's gonna bring up some hate comments, but I'm mentioning this because they're the perfect example of absolute greed on account of the film industry. Because now that I found out the truth about why films were being made, you can definitely look at the Marvel Studios and try thinking through with a straight face about how impacting their superheroes can be. Think Spider-Man, think X-Men, think the Hulk, think Captain America, and then think the Avengers. Now, of course, those stupid Marvel movies are making movies worse, but we have movies coming from DC who are trying to make movies better. Hopefully that does go out better, even twice as much as I expected. But on the part of Marvel and their stupid cinematic universe collection, let alone the whole assembly line that they've been announcing between now and 2019, and a lot further back than that, but you get where I'm going. I mean, it still boggles the mind because those films were actually exciting. Fan service was being structured, and honestly, I liked the films basically because we wanted to see more superheroes in action all together. But now that I look at the whole cinematic universe thing, and I'm not just doing it because Confused Matthew mentioned it, though I thank him for that. You realize where the film industry is going. With more retail glut actually taking place. Yes, I just mentioned retail glut, and I'm going to mention that later. You can tell where the film industry is going. And there's simply no reason to like filming except for the fact that it was entertaining. Now, of course, the reason could have been that they made films in the first place on the benefit of entertaining people, on the benefit of educating people. But no, that's not the case. Oh no. All they want from making films was a little bit of green. That's the only fact I came to read. It irks me inside knowing this, because I've been watching movies all my life. Personally, it almost makes me want to cry inside, because now I know that all the movies I ever watched in my entire life so far were lies. Absolute lies. Now, I ask again, where's the fair use? It is nowhere to be found. Nowhere. Absolutely nowhere to be found. Because these money-grubbing washes that they are, with their billions of dollars, decided they only want to make films for profit. So yeah, basically, we're seeing more mixed up goodness and badness from the film industry, just because this simple fact that all those early filmmakers ever wanted to do in making films was gain more profit. Now, the reason could have been in gaining profit was for human survival, like back in ancient times, and a lot further back. But you know what? If that's all they really want, if that's all we really need, which is profit, then we really don't even need to make any more films, do we? Now just think about that. This fact alone should tell you something about the film industry. The whole record that is shown in history books, let alone school textbooks, just mentioning films and filmmaking. It hurts me inside just to know what the real reason was in filmmaking. It makes me cry inside. films I watched were impacting. They gave me a chance to express myself. They gave me great ideas for my franchise. But now, it's gone to waste just because of the cynical decision to make films just for profit. It irks me inside because now filmmaking is actually written in the history books. And you want to tell me that just making films for profit is a good thing? But in fact, that is the whole reason why we still can't seem to find fair use on YouTube. I feel sickened inside just mentioning this. All of our hard work just to entertain people, just to entertain ourselves, it is now being washed over because of this sole cynical notion that we can just gain profit from making films. And I'm pretty surprised no one today in this film industry that we see now, that we hear of now, has realized this, because they only came in the film industry just to see about the creativity they can have in structuring their films. That's the opposite in the game industry, where the only reason we made video games is because the previous games were starting to bore us half to death, and we needed better games, more creative games, better ideas for games. And that was the reason for Nintendo coming into existence, wasn't it? Now I'm thinking I better stick with playing video games and stay away from watching films, because they seem to have a good reason for making their products. And the film industry has bar none. Kinda ridiculous, ironic when you think about it. But there you go. That's the biggest rage on this video. So I'm sorry to disappoint Doug Walker and all the other foregoers of the trend looking for this fair use. But what I just explained to you was not the case of fair use being found. Was there? Now, I want to support you, Doug, and I really do, from the bottom of my heart. But because I only found out that the filmmakers were only making money for making films for profit, I'm just now looking for some miracle that'll convince me that there is far more to filmmaking than that. So I'm still looking too. My name is Jason Massey. Where is the fair use?